I'm here to tell you my carnivore story. September 2024, I was obese, chronically ill, and felt like I was dying slowly every day. I weighed over 290 pounds. I took 17 prescriptions daily, and I had over 30 diagnoses. And I was facing 3 surgeries before the end of the year. I wasn't sure if I was going to survive. Over the last 17 years, I've gone through one trial after another, each one eating away at my physical health, my emotional health, my psychological health, and my spiritual health. But last summer, a friend of mine shared with me the carnivore diet. I ignored her at first, wasn't interested. It was too hard. I couldn't possibly do that. But eventually, it got through to me, and I figured I was going to probably die anyway, so why not die trying to make my life better? So I had right shoulder surgery on September 24. I decided I was going to try carnivore about a week later, and I began cutting down on my carbs and increasing how much protein I was having each day. By mid-October, one of the tendons in my shoulder tore again. October 22nd, I had trigger finger surgery on my right hand. November 5th, I had cut out all sugars, potatoes, rice, and bread, but I was still having some fruit. I had a consultation with a surgeon because I'd had some imaging done that revealed that I had several giant lipomas, which could possibly turn into cancer. He recommended surgery, but I asked if they might go away if I lost weight, and he said it's possible. So that was one surgery I never had to have. By the day after Thanksgiving, I was fully carnivore, and thankfully my husband was on the journey with me. I was able to make it through the holidays with only tiny cheats on Christmas Day. January 2nd, I had the second rotator cuff surgery, repairing the one tendon that had torn. I was on stricter precautions. Just 7 days later, I got the stomach flu that lasted for over a week. I believe it was influenza A. I've never felt so awful. And then less than a week after recovering from that, I got influenza B. I had a fever for days, sore throat, terrible cough. By the time I recovered from that, I was so weak I could barely walk from my bed to my toilet. But I never cheated. Not when I was sick. I had bone broth and chicken noodle soup without the noodles until I could eat normally again. By March, I was beginning to get stronger. I was beginning to have energy. Most days, I had more energy and strength than I had strength and endurance. I kept getting stronger every day. By June, I was down to just 4 prescriptions, but weaning off of Lyrica took a long time. I started out on September 24 at 298 pounds. By the end of the year, I was down to 260 pounds. By April 1st, I was at 250 pounds. By June, I was down to 240. By August, 227. And today, I'm at 212. Last summer, 17 prescriptions every day. Leaving home was very hard on me. I couldn't tolerate cold and I couldn't tolerate heat. I took a trip to Florida, but we had to fly business class because I was so overweight and I could barely walk on the trip home and needed to have wheelchair assistance at the airports. And I was bedridden for weeks afterwards. Last summer, summer 2025, is the best summer I've had in decades. I went 10 days camping. I went to the Silverwood amusement park and went on 4 roller coasters and walked for 10 hours straight. I went paddleboarding at Baker Lake, followed by a road trip to the Atlantic Ocean. We covered coast to coast in 7 days. We went go-karting, kayaking. I went swimming in the ocean, and I flew home in an economy seat. And after only 2 days of rest, I bounced back and went camping for 7 more days, more swimming, more paddleboarding. Over the summer, we landscaped the backyard, and I did a lot of the hard work. I also painted about 1/3 of the interior of my home. And last month, I actually took on a job. So now I'm not only taking care of my home, I'm taking care of another home, and I still have energy at the end of the day. My current status is I weigh 212 pounds. I take 3 prescriptions every day, plus a muscle relaxant once in a while. And I suffer from 3 diagnoses, which are a thyroid disorder, I'm allergic to dust, and I still have osteoarthritis, but I have little or no pain. My life has completely transformed. People who haven't seen me for a year would not recognize me, and they would not recognize my life. I hope I've inspired you to look into the carnivore diet, because I hope my story can help others find the transformative healing of the carnivore diet. Thanks for listening.